Good morning and welcome to another one of Drew's book review. So today we are finishing up our Maps in a Mirror series with part 5 in Maps in a Mirror. So this part is called The Lost Songs or The Hidden Stories. So this one, it starts out with the original short story for Ender's Game. Now, anybody that knows me knows that Ender's Game is by far one of my absolute favorite books of all time. Not just favorite Orson Scott Card story, but one of my all-time favorite books. Now this is the short story version, so it is of course dramatically shorter than the actual novel. So there's a lot within the novel compared to the short story that you just don't get in the short story. In fact, in the short story, which I had never read before now, kind of picks up right in the thick of things in Battle School, and really advances through the rest of Battle School quite quickly. So the short story itself definitely focuses more on the Battle School than the end result. I felt, and because of the nature of it being a short story, I don't think it had the same impact as the overall book did. But still, Ender's Game is a classic story, and I still love the short story. I think it was still quite entertaining to read and still really enjoyed it overall. And then we have MIKAL'S Songbird. So this is the original short story that eventually became the novel Songbird or Songmaster. So it's about this boy who basically can control others through his voice, through his song. And MIKAL being the emperor of the known universe throughout the galaxies. So again, this one starts off. Again, the short story version definitely has a lot less involved in the overall larger novel. It's still a good read overall. And, you know, the devotion that he has to his emperor is pretty remarkable. Although I'm not entirely convinced that the emperor deserves that kind of devotion. And then there's Prentice Alvin and the No Good Plow. So this is actually a long form poetry in which the Alvin Maker series was eventually based on. Personally, I've never been a big fan of poetry myself, so not sure that I could say I really enjoyed the poem. I definitely enjoyed the Alvin Maker series of books far more than the poem itself. And then we have malpractice. This is a really interesting concept about this guy who goes in for some medical treatment and later discovers he's actually had an organ transplant. But this heart transplant that he has, rather than his body rejecting this heart, this new organ actually starts to alter and change his DNA as it spreads through the rest of his body. He starts becoming the person whom he got the heart from, but he never knew that he got a transplant to begin with. So that's a really interesting concept and kind of creepy in a way. I think that one could definitely be developed probably into a larger book at some point, but who knows if that'll actually happen. But definitely a good story. Really enjoyed that one. And then we have Follower. So this one is just about this boy who has been deemed mentally deranged. And he has this special purple card which gives him these special privileges where no one's allowed to bother him or say anything that could upset him. And he could basically get away with whatever the hell he wants because he's got this special card that gives him all these crazy special privileges. And one day he starts following these people around only to discover some kind of plot. Now everyone thinks he's crazy, but he's absolutely convinced there's these aliens in orbit around her, just waiting to take over the world. Um, and so he just starts following people around and discovers this plot and sends them to the FBI and all that great stuff. Only to, well, I'm not going to spoil the end for you, so I'll let you read it and you can figure out the end. And then there's Hitching. So this one, it's basically the idea, what if a hitchhiker suddenly found the tables turned on him, in which The hitchhiker who originally intended to steal or hurt the person that picked them up, what if that person suddenly was able to turn the tables on the hitchhiker and take back control and the power? And what would happen and what would that look like? And that's what Hitching's all about. Damn fine novel. This is just basically him explaining that he's writing a story about a person who's writing a story about writing, well, a damn fine novel. It's kind of funny and humorous in the way it's written, but not much of story to it, so it's kind of, eh, funny, but not much of a storyline to it. Now we've got Billy's Box, The Best Family Home Evening Ever by Soletta. I think Mom and Dad are going crazy, Jerry, and Gert Farm. The reason I mention all these together is because basically they're a collection of stories that are essentially Mormon fiction. Now, if you don't already know, Orson Scott Card is a Mormon, and these are stories that originally appeared in Mormon church magazines. Honestly, I found most of them kind of boring and dull and really not that entertaining, to be honest. Um, just kind of boring. Not not worth it. I mean, if you were to pick up this book and skip the Mormon fiction, you know what? You won't be missing much, honestly. But overall, I will say that I really enjoyed The Maps in a Mirror, the short fiction of Orson Scott Card. It is a great anthology collection of his short stories. And while not all of them were great, definitely most of them were still good stories. And really enjoyed reading this book, and I'm glad that I picked it up. So, as always, stay tuned because we do have Heart's Hope coming up next. Another Orson Scott Card book, so looking forward to getting into that. Stay tuned for the review on Heart's Hope, and as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe below. And links to my Facebook and Twitter feeds will also be in the description below. So thank you so much, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day.